What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in. It's 1TS Daily live right here at One True Sport. How's it going? I'm Zack Heydorn, your host from Sports Illustrated and from Brass Ring Media. And I'm coming to you today from apparently inside of a snow globe. You guys can't see here, but I'm in Chicago and it is snowing like crazy outside. It's ridiculous. I've always thought all that ridiculous. I mean, it is, Thursday, November 21st, but still, I don't want this snow. I mean, I'm not like an anti-snow person, but it is a pun intended here, cold reminder that winter is here. And yeah, the days of summer and sitting outside are over. Unless you want to make a snowman of some kind, because that is in play right now out there. It is absolutely insane. But needless to say, enough about the weather. I'm not a weatherman. You're not here to hear a weather report either. This is 1TS Daily. We're live here on the One True Sport YouTube channel every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 11 Eastern-ish, to talk wrestling, to talk the news of the day in pro wrestling, to talk with you, to hear your opinion about what's going on in this wacky business that we follow. If you're watching live on YouTube right now, hello, and thank you so much for doing so. If you wouldn't mind, hit like on our show here, on our video. Helps us out big time. If you are on Twitter and you're watching us there, thank you. Appreciate you watching there as well. You know how to give a like on Twitter. I know you do. I would appreciate that very, very much. We got a lot to get to today. Big, not necessarily good, but a big episode of Dynamite last night that I definitely want to dig into here while we have some time together. Also, we got to talk some news hit in the last 24 hours that I think is important, and we'll definitely talk about that tomorrow on the show. So tomorrow we will be doing a full gear preview, right here at 1TS Daily. So you're not going to want to miss that if you can pencil us into your calendar or pencil us into your day. That's a live show you're always going to want to make sure that you get. We have some really fun stuff during our live pay-per-view previews, whether it's WWE or AEW. So don't miss it tomorrow, right here, 1TS Daily, live at One True Sport. All right, let's talk about Dynamite. We're going to start there because I really thought that AEW needed to do a lot in order to get people excited for Full Gear, and not just excited, but motivated, to purchase. I mean, you're asking people for $50 on Saturday night, and I don't think AEW has provided like a big enough hook. Hey, you gotta order this show to see X, or you gotta order this show to see Y. It's just kind of there, and they needed to have a home run of a go-home episode here in order to make their final case, in order to make their final pitch for the show, for the pay-per-view, and sell their audience on it. And I just don't think they did. And worse than that, I think that they just hurt some of their matches with what they did in the go home show here. I felt that last night's episode of AEW Dynamite was meandering. I thought it was flat. I thought it shined a light on just how cold a lot of the happenings are on the show. And that's not how you want to go into any show. That's not how you want any of your television shows to feel like, but you definitely don't want your go-home show for a big pay-per-view to feel that way. And this did. And I'll give some examples. And there was some stuff I liked on the show for sure. But boy, oh boy. Yeah, man, I don't know. I walked away from that show last night going, yeah, they didn't even try to make a closing argument, right? They didn't even try the hard sell. They just didn't. And when they did, were like the things that you could look at on the show and go, okay, that was a final pitch for this for XYZ. I don't think they landed them at all. And so, yeah, we got to talk about that. All right. We're going to get into it here, kind of segment by segment. The live chat's open. Right now. We got some people filing in. Feel free to make your comments heard, make your voice heard, drop in questions, drop in rants, drop in, Zach, you suck, whatever it is. Feel free to use that. It's always fun. The show is so fun when you guys are rocking and rolling in the chat. So do that. If you want me to make sure that I read yours, drop a super chat in there. And we can take that question or comment for sure. It goes right to the top of our queue here, and that way you're in no matter what. Cool. All right, Christopher is in here. Let's put up Christopher's chat here. He says, "Go home shows before pay-per-view are always mid." Yeah, they don't collectively do a good job. AEW and WWE sometimes either, but AEW does not do a good job collectively at selling you on their shows. They assume that you want to see good matches, but they don't sell you on the actual stories and the actual angles and matches. So I think that's appropriate, Christopher. It definitely is for the show last night. All right, so they opened with the big 8-man tag team match, which I thought was a perfectly fine match, perfectly fun match, but not enough Ospreay and Fletcher stuff. I mean, you've got this big personal rivalry between these two, and on the go-home show, they didn't touch it. They just kind of had this match together, and they had some moments in the match together where they fought each other, and then that's it. I thought that they had something last week with that personal touch, with the touch of like, you lived in my house, you helped me take my son to school. How could you do this? How could you turn on me? Whatever. That I thought that was a good foundation, but you got to build on it. And I don't think they built on it. They didn't even attempt to put any blocks on it. Like if it's like a Jenga thing, they're just like, I forget, we're not playing the game anymore. Like that needed more juice, and instead it's just kind of there now, and it's going to be a good match. The worst part about this feud is that Will Ospreay, who is or should be one of your signature stars, very much has been like merged into the lane of traffic with these mid-card guys. Like he doesn't look and isn't presented heads above anybody else in that match yesterday. I mean, like him and Kyle Fletcher are not on the same level within the company's hierarchy. Fair to say, right? I think so. But when you watch that show, there's no real differentiation there. It's like they are equals. That's the perception. And I just don't think you want that perception for Will Ospreay. Not right now. He's got to be busy. He's got to be busy like being the guy in your company. And instead, the idea is, well, we want to, make him and Kyle Fletcher seem like equals. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you want to elevate Fletcher, at some point, but not at the expense of your current top babyface star or one of. Like, no, you can't do that. You got to take care of your prized assets and acts. And Will Ospreay's one, and he's just way too much in the background for my liking here. I think the Will Ospreay Fletcher match is going to be a great match. No question about it. This is not an indictment on whether or not the matches themselves will be good at Full Gear. Is did they do enough to like build it up? And within what they did do, is that effective? And this just wasn't. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Adam Cole. Holy cow. That guy needs to like storm into Tony Khan's office and just go, look, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. And here's what I'm going to do instead. Whatever that is. But this like sad Adam Cole, I didn't win my 3 matches, so I can't face MJF. And then it's like Kyle O'Reilly comes out to confront Cole and tries to tell him, like, look, this obsession with MJF is really hurting you. It's hurting your friendships. It's like, how? I mean, like, it's not like they've fought each other. It's not like they've that, like, you know, MJF has beaten up any of his friends. It's like what Kyle O'Reilly is telling you is going on with Adam Cole, you don't see happening. So it's like, what is Kyle O'Reilly talking about? I thought this was the worst part of the show. Like, seeing Adam Cole just bewildered and befuddled by Kyle O'Reilly's words that really didn't ring true at all. And O'Reilly, that delivery, just, it's like, who the heck is this guy? He looks like a guy that is dressed like a guy that, you know, was filming a vignette backstage, you know, for part of a production company. Like, with Adam Cole, it has been miss after miss after miss after miss. And this was another miss. You know, he has lost all his mojo. All the charisma that he brought to the table is just not there. You don't feel anything. You see a guy that's like going through the motions. And now he's embroiled in another storyline with the undisputed guys, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. It's like, no. The match with MJF should have just happened. Like, extending this to World's End, if that's the plan, why? I mean, what tells you, if you're Tony Khan or anybody involved in this storyline, what tells you that this has another 4 weeks of build to it? I mean, it's hanging on by a thread as it is, and they've made such a big deal about, MJF, Adam Cole's got to get his hands on him, and then he doesn't. I mean, in the end, like, the build to the match was a build for a match that's not going to happen. It's like this feud between these two guys is cursed. It's cursed. You've shot it in the foot multiple times. Let it go. Let it go. If you wanted to do the match, I was behind that. If you rewind this show and you go back and you watch other episodes, I was very much like, hey, okay, they reset the table here. All right, Adam Cole's back. He's a babyface. MJF's back. He's a heel. All right, just let him go. Let him go now. Let him have a match. Instead, here we are, and he doesn't have a match. They don't have a match together. They're feuding, but also Adam Cole's feuding with these. They're like, you know, in dissension within his guys. It's a mess. Let it go. Sometimes things are just not meant to be. And this is one of them. Adam Cole continues to just like spiral down the card in terms of relevance and importance and frankly, just intrigue. I mean, at this point, you as a viewer are more interested in Julia Hart vignettes than you are Adam Cole. And that's nothing against Julia Hart, but Adam Cole is this prize free agent signing, big time signing. And this is where we're at with him. Christopher Leclerc back in the chat here says, I like all those great Julia Hart vignettes. Well, I like them too. I think a lot of people like them. And they're more interesting than what's going on with Adam Cole. And again, that's not anything that has to do with Julia Hart. It's just expectations for Cole were so high. And he had such an upside and such a high ceiling. And now he just doesn't have that anymore. And it's really, really surprising and really, really disappointing. All right. Then we had build, if you want to call it that, for Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Moné. And Statlander got a good win. Nice little match over Hikaru Shida. And Statlander got the W. Of course she should, right? She's got a title match on Saturday night. But then Mercedes Moné comes out, and now she's like insulting the fans, sports teams. Like, this is where we're at. That's like Chad Gable levels of heat. Right? I mean, and then Camille out there looking like a total goof, gets beat up, totally discarded. Who did she piss off backstage? I said this on social media last night. Like, how do you go from 1 week being this kind of like silent security for Mercedes Moné and credible in that role to a total laughingstock character in a matter of a few weeks? It's absurd. It's absurd. It's astonishingly bad. Even if you wanted the Camille character to eventually kind of be this goofball, character that Mercedes when they pushes around, the execution of that is even poor. Albeit that's a terrible idea in the first place. But what are we doing here? How does this make television without somebody going, all right, hey guys, are we sure we want to do this? Because this is the kind of impact it's going to have. And it's like, it's just like, do whatever you want out there. Okay, sure, go ahead. It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't help the Mercedes Moné character. She doesn't come across as any more heelish because she's pushing around Camille. Camille just looks dumb. And you don't want that. You don't want that for your top heel, or one of your top heel acts in the women's division. It's just a total miss. It's a total just misidentification of what what's important and how to get Moné over. Nobody really believes that Chris Statlander is going to beat Mercedes Moné. I get that. She's not going to. But you want there to be loads of heat for Mercedes, and instead she's relegated right now to insulting sports teams. Not good. Not good final build. Speaking of not good, Bobby Lashley has his first quote-unquote match on AEW television, and it's not promoted. What are we doing? Either wait until the pay-per-view so that you can use that as a draw, or promote that Bobby Lashley's going to have a match. It's crazy. Like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Now, that aside, I did like what they did with Swerve. I thought Swerve looked like a very, very credible babyface, very likable. I think that the feud between him and the Hurt Syndicate is one of the better things going on AEW television right now. I think it's fun to watch. I think they've got some chemistry. I think Swerve has chemistry with Lashley. I think Swerve has chemistry with MVP. So to me, that is one of the best things going into Full Gear. But again, you're not really promoting that. You're not promoting Lashley having a match. It's like, it's silly. It's silly. And then we get to the main event. And look, overall, I thought the main event, first of all, a couple matches were really good on the show. Claudio Castagnoli versus Darby Allin, thumbs up match. I thought it was bizarre to see Claudio win that match straight up the way that he did. So you got to pick your stars. And whoever your stars are, you got to treat them with care. And, I don't know if Darby's going to be one of those guys or not. I don't know. But if he is, this loss is pretty unacceptable. But needless to say, the match was really good, and Darby bumped like a crazy person in that match. The main event was good too. Orange Cassidy against Wheeler Yuta. Orange Cassidy gets the win. He gets the roll-up victory. And then afterwards, he gets beat up by Moxley and company, and they duct tape his hands together. It's target practice for Jon Moxley. And then at the end, after telling his friends not to come out to help him with anything with that match, they listen, they don't, he gets beat up. But then they do come out, and they uncut him from the tape, and he kind of stands defiantly in front of Moxley after Moxley's left the ring, and puts his hands in his pockets, and that's that. This worked. Like if you listen to the audience, and there wasn't very many people in there, but if you listen to the audience, there was heat for Jon Moxley for the first time in kind of a long time. There was like clear boos for him, clear cheers for Orange Cassidy. That's a good sign. That's a good sign for the match on Sunday. I think it's weird to see a babyface like Orange Cassidy make a declaration like, "Hey, nobody come out and help me. I'm going to fight this on my own." It's like, why are you going to do that? What purpose does that serve? You have a title match. I guess, yes, you don't want your friends to get hurt, but like, I don't know. That didn't land for me. I was having a conversation on Twitter last night with somebody, or on Blue Sky, actually, not Twitter, Blue Sky. And it was rooted in like, this was kind of a virtuous thing for Orange Cassidy to do, but that's all it was. Like, he didn't look smart in doing so. He looked stubborn and frustrated because he's got these friends backstage and he told them not to come out. And why? I think you want to have your why there. But that said, overall, I thought it's worked. It's one of the few feuds on this card that has worked, even though you know that Orange Cassidy's not winning this title. But that's okay. Part of the job is getting people excited and creating that bit of doubt so that people watch to find out whether or not he'll win. And I think Orange Cassidy has done that. And that's why I think he's been a good opponent all along for Jon Moxley as a first pay-per-view opponent, because fans feel for Orange Cassidy. There's a connection there, clearly. And they're tapping into that right now. And it's been thumbs up. All right, that's Dynamite. We'll preview that show tomorrow, or excuse me, Full Gear tomorrow in full. And you're not gonna want to miss it. Our pay-per-view preview shows, I think, are some of the are some of the best. So don't miss it tomorrow, right here, 11 a.m. Eastern, One True Sport. All right, a couple news nuggets. Toni Storm, in an interview with SB Nation yesterday, announced her retirement. I'm not buying this one. Not buying it even a little bit. I fully expect to see Toni Storm at Full Gear. I think this is a major red herring, and she'll be around. But she did announce her retirement, so it is newsworthy that in and of itself. CM Punk teased like a major dream match on Cheap Heat. Like, I think there's potential for this dream match, and I'll read the full quote. But the dream match is against Roman Reigns, of course, and he says that he thinks that Roman Reigns and him face to face on TV will be a moment. He says here, quote, "We're on different shows, and with my injury and his time off, I saw him at WrestleMania. That's the last time I saw him. The Shield came here and made a ton of waves in a short amount of time. My relationship with all those guys was pretty good. I just had to get the hell out of WWE for my own sanity. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think a lot of the questions you have, what is Punk's relationship with Roman? What does Punk feel about Seth? All that stuff is going to play out on television because that's what I do." Yeah, Punk Roman Reigns, that's a big match. Yeah, I don't know if that gets to WrestleMania or if that's more of like a SummerSlam match or some kind of big like international some big international show match. But I do think that that's something that if you're WWE, like, to me, you get to sooner than later because it's Punk. He's got an injury history. You never know when he's going to not be around. Get to that match. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everybody who joined live. I appreciate it. Always fun to see you guys. Tomorrow, like I said, AEW Full Gear preview right here, 1TS Daily at One True Sport. Thank you. You check out more of my work at Brass Ring Media. We'll be live this afternoon on that channel, talking Dynamite in a deeper way, deeper analysis. We dive in deep. That's kind of our theme at Brass Ring Media, so check it out. You can also check out our newsletter on Substack. Cool? Have a wonderful Thursday. I hope it's not snowing like crazy where you are. I will talk to you all tomorrow. See ya.